Hello, beautiful seekers, and welcome to Moon Magic and our discussion around the new moon and solar eclipse at 0 degrees of Cancer. That is a powerful eclipse. That is a powerful new moon position to have just across the board. It's a pretty rare one to have the ruler of the, the moon rules Cancer, to have it at the 0 degree point like this, and to close out 2 years of eclipses in Cancer in this way is really momentous and powerful and symbolic. This moon's happening on the solstice, so around June 20th, 21st, depending on where you are in the world, this new moon is occurring and going exact, and we will be working with this energy. The solar eclipse aspect of this will be visible over parts of Africa and Asia, so anybody living in, the Americas or in Europe, we're just going to be sitting in the darkness. Many of us will just be enjoying the feeling of the eclipse and the new moon and this restart and this fresh perspective. Now, this moon does ask us, and the Cancer new moon in general does tend to ask us to sit in mystery, to sit in unknowing, to sit with our deep nurturing self, to sit with the honesty of who we are becoming and how we are unfurling, right? This is a moon that asks us to change our shape, change the way we move through the world, right? And anytime we have eclipses, we're doing this. Eclipses are about transformation. They're about going into the shadow and coming out on the other side. And there is kind of this agreement that we have to go into the darkness and be willing to sit with it in order to welcome in new order, new justice, new peace. Now, it's taken me several days to sit down and really feel through this energy and be in the right frequency to deliver this message, because it is one of divine grace and love and nurturing and healing and softness and kindness. And the world right now doesn't always have that feel to it, so I've had to really sit here and really tune in to that wisdom. And the phrase that came up time and again as I have been working to sit with this energy is that this moon asks us to unlock the fierce love of that great mother, the great mother within us, the great universal mother. Often we think of divine feminine energy as being in that receptive mode, right? That mystery mode. And yes, this moon absolutely has that quality to it. But it has another quality, which is this fierce nurturer. You think of a mother bear and her cubs. You do not want to get in between a mother bear and her cubs, right? This is like known wisdom around the world, because she is going to fiercely defend those cubs, right? She's going to fiercely love them. She is not going to let things stand in her way. And it's not a perfect metaphor, but a lot of what we have going on right now with this moon on the collective level has to do with how that great, fierce, mothering love is a key to unlocking this next phase of who we're going to become in this world, in this lifetime together. And the great mother love, the fierceness of it, is that it delivers justice. It delivers truth and honesty and integrity and justice, right? And that can be a relentless process, right? Because it's not going to be about hiding or pretending or sidestepping issues. It's about really showing up to the table. A really great self-mothering and mothering of others involves being really honest and saying, yeah, this is where we are. This is where we are. And then great mothering energy also says, this is where we are. This is how we need to go forward. This is how we need to move forward. So on the personal level, you may be feeling that profoundly. If questions have been coming up, this moon is happening not only on the solstice, but it's also happening in the context of the last few days of Venus retrograde and the first few days of Mercury retrograde. This is a moon that asks us to sit in our questions, sit in our questioning, sit in our uncertainty. But the voice that you're going to want to tap into at this time is that divine, nurturing mother energy, the one that says, I got you. Okay, maybe this isn't clear. Maybe this doesn't feel completely tied up and clear and ready to go, but I got you. We're going to be honest about this. We're going to self-mother. We're going to show up to ourselves. We're going to show up to the table of that love, and we're going to be okay, right? That is what this moon is really offering up to us. Now, I haven't really gotten into the aspects. There's just one big one going on here, and it's also very symbolic. The sun and the moon are going to be together, hanging out at 0 degrees of Cancer, and they will be quincunxing the Saturn in Aquarius at also 0 degrees of Aquarius. Saturn is just about, he's retrograding. He was just about to go back and take one last visit in Capricorn the last part of this year before he starts moving forward in the fall, and then meets Aquarius again at the end of the year. So this new moon is also tied to what we're doing with Saturn. And Saturn wants us to break free of old patterning. Saturn wants us to use our discipline and our sense of time and timing and identity to step into revolutionary new shifts, right? And I think we've been feeling that. Saturn has been hanging out in Aquarius this year since March, and we have been feeling that shift in energy quite clearly, quite vividly, I would say. So this moon is helping us tie up, kind of understand what we've learned just in the last few months, also what we've learned over the last 2 years with the north node of the moon before it's already in Gemini now, but with these eclipses in Cancer, since this is the last one for many years, also how we're closing out what we have learned over that time. Now, quincunx is always going to be about balance between discipline and where we are true to ourselves, right? And the discomfort that can sometimes come with figuring out which is which and which is authentic and true to us. So there can be some complexity in that energy. You may feel a little bit like you're forced to sit still, like you can't make proactive adjustments and changes the way that maybe you would like to be making them at this time. Once again, if you're working with the logic of a new moon in Cancer during an eclipse at a 0 degree, you're in a threshold, you're in a doorway. It very much reminds me of High Priestess energy here, where you're getting initiated in. So you're having to sit in the hallway between worlds. You're having to sit in the doorway between one aspect of life and the next. Dreams can be really vivid at this time, all the way leading up to this solstice, actually. And this can just be a time where you feel like you know and you see more clearly than ever. And you also feel like you know even less and see even less at the same time. Now, like I said, the most important thing to keep in mind here is that the divine mothering energy is going to be really good at helping you mother like your inner rebel, your inner child, your inner toddler, right? And to really show up for that aspect of yourself. And when we're willing to do that with ourselves and unlock that in ourselves, it spills out beautifully to our communities, to how we act in the world, how we treat ourselves, how we treat others, and how we learn and grow and change. Now, there was one other really important message that came through, and I keep getting like full body shivers, and I'm sorry about the lighting as well. There are clouds just running around the sky today. It's like they're here and they're gone. Anyway, there's another message that came through, and it's part of this whole Saturn, moon, quincunx discomfort, which is just something that just came up for me while I was doing this, while I'm thinking about what we're shifting into, and we're going to be unlocking the fierceness of the divine, great, beautiful mother within ourselves and within our communities, and we're going to be delivering justice via that energy. And I think Cancer season will prove to be very profound in that way, since we're opening it up with this new moon. One thing that came to mind was this whole ideology of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Now, this phrase is really interesting, right? You often hear it as an ideology about being self-made, and that, often millionaires and billionaires, often men, white men, are lauded for being self-made because they just showed up and they worked and they had nothing and now they have everything. They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Oh, you're poor and you don't have resources. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? It's become kind of this ideal of willpower. And it's even kind of morphed into the spiritual community in the sense of it being like, well, have you just gotten in alignment enough? Haven't you just gotten into alignment enough, right? But the literal phrase, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, was originally used in the early 19th century, the early half of the 19th century, in newspapers as a sarcastic statement. You can trace actually the exact first time it was used in the publication, into the 1830s, I think, with somebody teasing another guy who had claimed to invent something, saying, well, I mean, might as well pull myself up by my bootstraps so that I can jump over this fence, or I can pull myself up over this fence just pulling on my bootstraps. And so the whole point there was like, this is something that's not done. You don't do that. That's not how you get over the fence, you know? And so it's really interesting to me that this concept, this sarcastic thing saying, that's not even something you need to do or should do, became an ideology about how value being stored in being this isolated individual who makes themselves or doesn't, fails, either does it and has value in this world because they have somehow, without the help of other people, which we all know that's not how that works, become this great thing, or you fail. And, you know, most of us feel like failures at some point in our lives around this mythology. Now, maybe, you know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps hasn't been the way it's been delivered. It comes in a lot of different formats, right? And it's very insidious and subtle. And the thing is, you know, powerful men that have lots of money, they're not making that money by themselves. You know, it's like they literally have thousands and hundreds of thousands of people making their money for them. It really shows the problem with this thinking, right? And where I'm getting with this is that that's not the ideal. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps is not the ideal. One of the lessons we have been getting time and again during our time with the Cancer eclipses and with Cancer as the North Node was that we have to allow ourselves to be in communion with others, to receive help, to receive healing and nurturing from each other and from our self-mothering. And on the flip side, with the Saturn work that we've been doing in Capricorn, with the South Node of the Moon when it was in Capricorn, was showing us how that idea of you being an individual that just works hard and therefore that's what makes you valuable was getting challenged time and again. Now here at this 0-degree new moon, we have one last chance to sit with that lesson, right? I mean, it'll keep coming up, but symbolically, energetically, this lesson coming up again, right? This is our chance to kind of look over that, look over those learnings, look over those teachings to realize that, yes, we have to self-parent, we have to self-mother, we have to show up for ourselves as an individual and choose to treat ourselves with honor, right? We have to do that. However, that's only one part of the puzzle, because also our communities, also the way we connect with others makes up a huge part of how we move through the world as human beings, as spiritual beings, and as deliverers of that fierce mother love. So this is a really important one. And, you know, just keep in mind that how bad it is for all of us, everybody, when the ideology is pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. The system, first of all, is designed to make it impossible for very specific populations not to be able to do that. In fact, to strip away even the bootstraps themselves. And beyond that, even if you are, even people who are very privileged, hurt by this. We all get hurt by this, right? In different levels and in different ways. I'm not making equations there whatsoever, but this is just a beautiful time to realize how maybe if you felt like a failure because you couldn't just force something to happen, or you couldn't just self-master yourself into alignment or into prosperity or into abundance, and you've questioned time and again, why am I not valuable enough? That's part, I think, of this chain of messaging that has come through about this idea of self-improvement, of self-help, of self-industry, and this idea of an isolated individual, which is a very modern concept and is one of the things that has made us feel the most alienated, the least understood, and the least happy, even with so many other resources at our beck and call. Now, the fierce mother energy is also going to be calling truth out, right? It's going to be wanting to bring truth to the surface. It's going to be wanting to bring answers. And like I said, justice. So I'm hopeful that this moon will bring about a clarity, a piercing clarity to some of that, even in the darkness of a new moon. Like I said, it's in the context of the end of Venus retrograde, the beginning of Mercury retrograde. This is a mysterious moon in many ways. It's an initiatory moon. It's a closeout moon. You may feel you need to cry it out or release. It's a very cathartic moon. A time to ask for forgiveness, to forgive yourself, to heal yourself, to nurture yourself, and to reach out to others and help others. You know, whatever's feeling natural to you. I'm going to pull one card here just to close out our discussion today. Two of Cups. That is so beautiful. You know, this isn't just about romantic love, though it could be. It's a very intimate moon. It's a very loving moon. It's a very sensual space to be in when the moon is in Cancer. This is also, though, about the intimacy of sharing with one another, right? This is also about the intimacy of being open to doing that sharing. And that healing is only one part alone. The other part of healing is with others. And that's the beauty of being here in this world, right? So this is about that communion, that showing up to the table to commune, to share, to grow, to heal together. And there's a big call for that. That's part of the fierce love of the mother. Yes, it's important that the fierce mother will tell the truth. She'll say, okay, we messed up here. Okay, maybe we've been hard on ourselves. Or, okay, maybe we have done wrong in these ways, right? Okay, that's true. But let's show up at this table of love, right? Let's show up at this table of love and let's commune. Let's commune. So this moon really wants that for us at this time, and wants us to tap into that wisdom. I'm sending you all so much love. I know this is a really turbulent time in the world, and that I don't always directly address all of the global issues. And I hope that you can feel from what I'm sharing here today that I am very much connected to what's going on, and I'm feeling it deeply and really sitting with it. I also hope this video is a helpful space to just sit with some of this heavier hitting energy and the intensity of it. If you're looking for more support and a great little community, I would love to see you over on my Patreon. We're doing the Venus retrograde work right now. We're about to dive into Mercury retrograde very soon here. So I would love to see you over there. We have weekly discussions about what the astrology is doing. We dive into some of these more specific planetary shifts. And it's just a great place if you're looking for a little more support. I'm, of course, wearing PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry. You can find her Etsy shop below. And you can find me on my website or on Instagram at SARAHTAROT. And I will see you all so soon. Take such good care of yourselves. Have a beautiful closeout to this Cancerian energy. Wow, what a ride it has been. I hope the 0 degree new moon treats you very well. And I will see you all so soon.